Yes, hello and welcome YouTubers and Doctor Who fanatics to another Big Finish audio review, and today we'll be taking a look at the second installment from the Big Finish Early Adventures range from Season 7, The Secrets of Det-Sen. Out of the two, Det-Sen was the one I was looking forward to a little bit more than After the Daleks. I've already reviewed After the Daleks. That was an above average story for me. It certainly had brilliant ideas and a fantastic villain, in my opinion, in After the Daleks. But this one I was looking forward to a bit more. The Secrets of Det-Sen is more of a traditional early adventure style story. After the Daleks the Doctor didn't feature in it at all. Susan was the main lead, more acted as a companion chronicle. I would say the After the Daleks, just with less narration and more full cast audio drama. But the Secrets of Det-Sen, more of a traditional early adventure style story, not backed up by too much narration here, though I will talk about the dialogue in particular in this story. And this release serves as a nice memory, rest in peace to Jackie Lane, who played Dodo. This is the first Big Finish audio release. Actually features the companion Dodo in a full cast audio drama. Lauren Cornelius is the actress who is performing Dodo Chaplet. I can close my eyes and envision it, so she does a good job, and I would say also top marks for the direction and the writing from Andy as well. So no complaints there. I always get a little bit, bringing people in to impersonate. Sometimes they don't get it right, but Big Finish are actually really good at it. I can say the same thing with Ben. I can say the same thing with John Pertwee with the whole Third Doctor series happening. They do really well, Big Finish. They find the right person for the job, and it's always crystal. It's fantastic. This story opens up like any typical First Doctor story of the Doctor and the companions in a very empty but very noisy atmosphere of a snowstorm in the Himalayas, or the roof of the world. Yeah, you get a little bit of like deja vu a little bit to Marco Polo. I thought it was going to set up very similar to Marco Polo, to be honest, because you do have bandits in this story, so I said, maybe they're trying to do some like deja vu thing here. But yeah, it's the typical First Doctor formula we all know of, and it sets up I would say quite similar to Marco Polo, with Marco and his followers, besides Degana, being very friendly. See the same thing with the characters here, like Odiana and Pama. Now Odiana is a real highlight of this story, because wow, he put me through a loop. I didn't know what to think of the character. Part 1 is heavy on dialogue. It's a very dialogue heavy story. A bit like Marco Polo, if I'm honest. Odiana is very stubborn, very strong on his beliefs. He would defend them to the grave. The way Odiana speaks, he speaks in like these riddles and this ambiguous tone, and it really makes you question him, because he might just be talking like spiritual, that he's just speaking from his faith. But I don't know, it's just the way the music plays onto that, and it like reinforces this ambiguity in the atmosphere, where there's just something about him which makes you go, I don't really trust him. But as I said, this character really throws you through a loop in this story. He really threw me through a loop. I just could not get heads or tails on him. I thought he might have been quite a big part of this story. He might turn out to be the main villain. You question him might be just completely pointless. I don't know. It's something about him made me go, I couldn't put my head around him. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that, right there, you've got a good written character, where you just don't know what the writer's gonna do with him. I love that. That was superb from Andy Franklin Allen. Just top-notch writing, because it feels like he knows something about the Doctor, but the context it's not direct. You don't know what the context is and why he's saying that. He says to the Doctor something like, there's a lot more than meets the eye, basically, what he's saying with the Doctor. He's more than just a pilgrim. And yeah, I questioned it. I questioned the whole character. It's deliberately ambiguous what the context means and why he was saying it. Talking about Pema and Steven, I thought there was going to be more of a relationship between Pema and Dodo, because Dodo makes the reference that she hasn't talked to another woman in ages. But it's more Steven and Pema, which was surprising. I thought it was going to be with Dodo, so it'd be like a Pinchot and Susan kind of dynamic, but it wasn't. It was more of a love relationship dynamic between the two of them. And I would say there's definitely tests and tribulations throughout the story, which I really enjoyed. Some parts very upsetting in tone. Very upsetting in tone. Dodo is very curious, especially when she comes across the Yeti. And I guess she hasn't heard of the saying, curiosity killed the cat. So yeah, she's definitely curious, a little bit, doesn't have the best common sense in the world about her dangers, like the dangers around her. Part 1 is good, I really enjoyed it. It's very heavy on its dialogue, I will admit. And I also will admit that part 1 and halfway through part 3, I would say it's slow. Yeah, I would say it's slow. I wouldn't say it's bad, I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy it. It's just, it feels a lot longer than After the Daleks. In fact, episode 4 is 41 minutes long. That's pretty long for a Doctor Who single episode. But funny enough, episode 4 is actually my favourite part of the story. Part 2 is very interesting, where we see Ordiana like calming the Yeti through this melody, and he makes the Yeti, who are aggressive and now very timid and calm and relaxed in his presence. But the music it plays on top of that, it's just this really howling and eerie soundtrack. It sounds like a high-pitched wind almost, but it has like this unsettling nerve. Like, does he really have influence over these Yeti, or is it not actually malicious? Again, I was having all these questions in my head, because the music really kind of reinforces that. And that's when I go into another thing. I think the music and sound design really kind of describes the scene to you perfectly. Just that whole scene with the music of in the presence of Ordiana. Really good scene. The direction and the sound design and the music, and how this whole audio was put together, it's one of the best by Big Finish, in my opinion. Just how the whole audio was put together. I don't know what it's about it. With other Big Finish stories I listen to, I just think it's one of the best Big Finishes stories in terms of sound design and direction to me. And that's not really a point I bring up in a lot of Big Finish stories, but there's just something about it which I just really enjoyed in some moments. We're just like so well done in this story. But it's not only I who I was suspicious of Ordiana as well. It was Steven as well. He's a bit suspicious of him too, because he's just so ambiguous, and even Pema doesn't know a lot about him too. So part 2, I would say my opinion of part 2 is the same as part 1. It's really enjoyable, and my goodness, some scenes are really good. But yeah, my opinion's still the same, basically. Heavy on dialogue. Part 3. Now this was the part where I really went through a loop with the character of Ordiana. Because my mind was in two places here. It's like the angel and the devil telling me different things. Here it's saying Ordiana is a respectful, honourable, and faithful to his teachings and his religion. But deep down, he's a man of his word. And over here, I think he's very untrustworthy. I think there's something just very sinister about him, which they aren't showing on screen. Or on audio, basically. Just not in sight. But then when Dodo is like convincing Ordiana to stand up against the bandits attacking the monastery and stuff, and he blesses and admires Dodo's wisdom of words. So yeah, This character went through a loop, and I won't say the outcome of this character, because if it threw me through a loop this much, then maybe you can't even find out what his motives are, or what he's trying to do. Funny enough, Secrets of Det-Sen has very similar build-up to the Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve, because episode 1, 2, and 3 of that was very heavy on dialogue, especially this one, but then part 4, that's when, carnage happens, and the pilgrims and the bandits going against each other alongside the Yeti, and some pretty sad moments of drama between Stephen and Pema, and that kind of seems parallel to the relationship of Stephen and I can't remember the character from the Massacre. I can't remember the woman's name. But yeah, part 3 is still good, but I would say what lacks with the Secrets of Det-Sen is a feeling of a threat, because the Yeti's involvement is not what you would imagine it to be, and the bandits and Norbu, I just didn't think they were enough to give me that feeling of a threat compared to Marcus Frey in After the Daleks. He was much more of an opposition. For part 4, and then we come into the best parts of the story. I'm talking about the best parts of the story. Stephen and Pema's relationship is definitely one of them, the back and forwards, the trials and the tribulations that the two of them go through. And yeah, it can be very upsetting in tone at sometimes. I would say top marks of that. Some scenes, and it was supported by the sound design and the music. Some of the best moments I've actually listened to on Big Finish. They were just so well done, they were. But yeah, I wouldn't really call it like an action-packed story or an atmospheric story, although it had its eerie moments. But yeah, best performances do definitely go to Paul Courtney Hugh. Hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I just loved his character and his performance. The Doctor, for me, he was the one who wasn't particularly suspicious of Odiana, and he made a very good reference to saying someone may have secrets, but they may not actually be bad secrets. And I like that line I did, because yeah, it kind of gives you it puts this message in your head, but you shouldn't really judge someone just by, don't judge a book by its cover. So overall, what did I think of The Secrets of Det-Sen? It was a good story. I enjoyed it. It was good. But I think the weakest thing about The Secrets of Det-Sen, it just lacks a villain, but just gives it that punch. It just it lacks that. The Norbu and the bandits just didn't do it for me. The Yeti have a more of a different thing going for them, and Odiana, I would just leave to the audience of where that character ends up. But yeah, it does lack in that apartment, especially when you compare it to After the Daleks with Marcus Frey. So what I would give the rating? I was between a 7 and an 8 out of 10 with this one. But I would say, yeah, I am going to give it a 7 out of 10 for this one. Believe me, it has some really good scenes, really good moments in this story. But it does have a massive, so it's quite big for me, this is. It just lacks a threat. So, this is The Secrets of Det-Sen. It just moves up slowly. Very, very slowly. But it doesn't go up dramatically. Or doesn't it go woof. It doesn't even go down. It doesn't go down as well. It just stays fairly the same. So it lacks that punch. It lacks that strong drive or that feeling of a big foe, which I kind of wanted to happen in the story, but I just didn't feel it. And if it did have that, I would probably rate it. I would probably rate it an 8 out of 10 if that happened. And that's a really good rating for me. 7 out of 10 is still a really positive rating. 7 out of 10. Enjoyable story. I would say this season, I wouldn't say it's one of the strongest seasons of the early adventures. Season 2 was definitely more of a contender. Same with season 3, but I'm just thinking from memory here. But yeah, it's I prefer the Secrets of Det-Sen over to After the Daleks, but I wouldn't say they're both bad. I recommend both of them, and you'll probably give higher ratings than me. So thanks for watching my review of the Secrets of Det-Sen. The next video, it will be a collection video. See you in that video.